Episode 86. Inspired to Achieve. Introducing Kelly Middleton-Evans on the BTS Creative Academy Podcast, Uncut. With me, your host, Martin Colton. Just quickly check my notes. Got notes on you?
I was actually thinking maybe I should bring a notebook.
Nah. Not for you, not for you. For me, the notes. But even the notes are just like a little just like cement some of the ideas and topics we might talk about. But other than that, like I was saying, this is a conversation.
Yeah.
And thank you for joining me, Kelly.
That's right. Thanks for having me.
It's really nice to have you here. Really appreciate you joining me. Out of the blue, I messaged you. I've been following your stuff on social media. I know your brother.
Yes.
Quite well. Don't know. Good friends with your brother. Had his partner on here.
Yeah.
And so and like I say, I'm quite. It's quite interesting to see some of the stuff you're doing with the Youth Create does parties.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you want to know?
Well, it's like I say, it's really interesting. I know you've been a performer, haven't you? That was your background before getting into business?
So my mum started the business.
Right, okay.
It was actually my 5th birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, right, I do drama. I'm going to do the party. And I think she dressed up as like a fairy elephant with like this rainbow rucksack. Basically, she went through her dressing up box and just put on absolutely anything she could. And she invited all of my friends, village hall, did a load of party games. And at the end, because I was 5, I was in reception. She didn't really know any of the mums. The mums didn't really know each other yet. And she had like 2 or 3 mums come up to her at the end like, oh, could I have your card? Could I have you? And she was like, oh, no, nice to meet you. I'm actually Kelly's mum. And then she was like, maybe people actually want this.
Yes.
So then she teamed up with another mum in the class who was the school cook.
Mm-hmm.
Helped out in the kitchen, and then they kind of came together and they formed this all-in-one affordable package, all the entertainment and food together. And their first party was a Halloween party, and they sold tickets.
Nice.
And they had a entertainment and then a food break that was all supplied for them. And it was kind of like the first in the area that had done anything like that at all.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
because it's quite a lot of that goes on now.
Yeah.
But I guess that was quite a while ago.
Yeah,
and it wasn't.
absolutely.
It was quite a new thing then.
And like when I was talking to my mum, she said that it was really popular for a good 3 or 4, 5 years, and then it kind of died, and everyone wanted to go for cinema parties, bowling parties, and
right, okay.
the idea of having pirates and things running a party just wasn't popular.
Right, okay.
And then it was the release of Frozen.
Mm-hmm.
Disney
and then
film,
that kind of
it just spiked it up
took
again. Yeah. And then I kind of got a little bit more involved, but like I told you about that Halloween party from the beginning, she actually dragged me in as a cat. She was a witch. Of course. And I was her little cat. I think I was 7 years old, and that was like my first taste of doing a party, and I was like one of the team leaders to like help everyone. So I've kind of been dragged along the journey from the beginning.
This is a real family business then.
Yeah.
And Youth Create does parties. It's an interesting business name for a party company. They're essentially characters, aren't they? Princesses and pirates.
Yeah, princesses, pirates, superheroes. All the popular ones on TV, but we weren't always Youth Create does parties. I think when it first started, it was called like the Jolly Good Party Experience or something like that. And then my mum's job changed, and she started working for the charity Youth Create, which is a performing arts school. For all abilities, all backgrounds. It doesn't matter if you've got a penny in your bank or like £1,000, anyone's welcome. And they were going for a bit of a rough time, and they were struggling to get funding in. And they were like, oh, we're going to have to close. And she was like, hang on a minute. I've got a little side business here that I could maybe raise some money and donate for charity. And they were like, oh, that would be great, Liz, if you could do that. And then she was like, yeah. So she like relaunched it again under Youth Create does parties. And still to this day, most of our profits we donate back to the charity.
Oh, that's amazing! I didn't even realise that. I didn't. Yeah. When you look at it from an outsider, I did think it was a fully functioning business just for yourself. I didn't realise that you were trying to give back in some way.
Yeah, no. I mean, like with anything, when you become a actual business and you have to become VAT registered, and oh my goodness, all the fees is just horrible. But I still, at the end of every year, we donate. I think in December it was £2,500 we were able to donate back. So yeah, it's good, and
it's lovely.
We've got a bit of a shared website, so
right.
I'm helping them get footfall as well as they're helping me get footfall. So it kind of
filters through.
Yeah, it's nice. And a lot of people have heard of the parties, and then I send them a thank you email. Please leave us a review if you had a great time. Also, if you enjoyed us, you might enjoy our drama classes. Send them a link to that website, and vice versa. All the kids that go to the drama classes and the dance and singing, they get discount if they book a party with us. So yeah, it
really sounds like nice. A really nice setup.
Yeah, it works.
So is your mum still involved with this, or is this all yours now?
No, it is all mine now.
Okay.
I was kind of when I was 18, I was kind of in and out. Whenever I didn't have a contract abroad or travelling, I would come home and I would be alongside her booking everything. And we kind of did it all the entertainment, all the booking, all of the training, everything, me and her shared. And I'd go off, do a contract. She says it was I learnt a little bit of knowledge, and I'd come back and be like, Mum, we should do it this way. It'll be so much better to do this and this. And then she's like, oh, yeah, okay. And then we'd change something to make it work a bit more professional, or training the team in a different way that I've just been trained. It makes it so much easier how to do this. Cue lines, mascots, so all things like that. Until eventually it was in 2019, she said, do you know what, Kelly? It's yours.
You've got this.
So much more than me. This is yours. So then we kind of split. And so I took hold of the party side, and she carried on doing Youth Create, the charity.
Right, okay.
So we were kind of doing that. We kind of split roles. Yeah, and then that was that. And now it's kind of my full-time job, and I'm still loving it. And
that's nice. It's wonderful to be able to be a performer and have something that you love and enjoy, have a business that runs alongside the performances that you do. Do you still get to perform, or? I
don't enjoy performing as much anymore.
Do you not?
Actually.
Okay. Because I know that you've got a background in pantomime, haven't you? In dance.
Yeah. So primarily dancing was what I wanted to be when I was little. I wanted to be an X Factor dancer.
Okay.
I really did want to be on X Factor, and I wanted to dance on the cruise ships and things like that. But I left school and I found an extras agency, did a bit of TV work, and then I realised I don't want to do TV. Not for me.
No, very long, boring days.
Boring days. Also, I don't think I was very good at it
okay.
as well. And it was quite nice that I could step back and actually look at myself and be like, that's not for you, but well done for giving it a go.
No, that is good to discover, to try something out that it looks quite glamorous and nice and fun from the outside. But I've done tons of extra work.
Yeah.
And I've enjoyed very few parts of doing it.
Yeah.
It's quite good for experience.
Yeah.
It's good as a side hustle as well if you need a little bit of money.
And it was a really, really good flex when I went back to sixth form, and they were like, Kelly, why weren't you in yesterday? And I was like, sorry, I was just filming for Holby City. And all the teachers were very impressed as well. But I actually left sixth form. I didn't finish any of my A-levels because the filming work was so high. And alongside that, I was teaching dance and working at Youth Create, teaching there as well. So I had quite a lot of stuff going on. I suppose I'm quite lucky in that way that I've always kind of had jobs fall into my lap. They're like, oh, Kelly, you'd be good at doing this. Do you want to do it?
Where do you think that comes from?
My mum. I think she's just kind of she has an idea and she runs with it. Or if something's broken, she's like, I can fix that. Come on, Kelly, we can do that. And then.
So you've been inspired by that and you've taken that on yourself to be similar?
Yeah, I don't think I've meant to or purposely want to do it. Or, I don't know, I think there's no other way but to just do it. Yeah.
So your mum's obviously brought you up in this very theatrical way, this performing life.
Yeah.
Did that come naturally to you? Was there a moment where you were like, this is just who I am, what I do? Or have you just always been this way?
I've always done it. Yeah, I think my first job when I was really little, I was in a Puma fashion show. Do you remember Puma?
Puma as in the brand, as in the... Yes, yeah.
I was 5 years old.
They're really quite big in the 90s, actually. It was really quite trendy to have Puma. Yeah.
So that was my first job, doing a Puma fashion show. And then I did quite a lot of TV work when I was very, very small. And then I had a bit of a lull when you know, when you go through like puberty, all that horrible stage.
Yes, yeah.
And then I picked it up again when I was older, which was nice. But yeah, like I said,
well, I guess there's a little period in teenage years where you're discovering who you are.
Yes.
And trying to find out what this is all about.
Yeah. And like, is this actually cool? Do I actually want to do this? Yeah.
And you listen to the peers, and you like your friends and things, and maybe it's not fitting in with what everyone's doing.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah. No, luckily I think people just thought I was a bit strange, but in a cool way. They were
nice.
Like, Kelly's got lots of stuff going on outside of school, but she can't come to my party because she's doing some sort of filming for something, I don't know. And I'm like, yeah, that's right, yeah, sorry. What did
that give you, having those things after school and outside of school, those extra activities? What did that do for you?
Freedom.
Okay.
Like freedom. And also I guess kind of just figuring out what is it that I want to do, and but also not like I spent like dance classes all the time, every single day of the week, except I think I had one day off when I didn't go to dance.
Okay.
And that wasn't even like an option for me to not dance.
In what sense? Not an option? Through you choosing?
Yeah,
like you,
absolutely.
You love it so much.
Yeah, but I don't think I knew that I loved it. I just kind of didn't know anything else until I stopped dancing because of work. And now I'm kind of like, oh, I did that. That was really fun. So yeah, that's really nice when you have a hobby that you don't even realise is a hobby that you love, because it's just like part of your daily routine. You just do it every day.
Yeah. That is a wonderful place to be in life. I find myself a little bit like that with this, actually. I'm trying not to have this as a hobby, you know, and trying to make it something different than just a hobby. But I'm doing this day to day at the moment, and just loving the space that I'm in.
That's nice.
And it sounds very similar to where you loved being with the dancing.
Yeah.
It's just that's just kind of who you are. That's just, you felt right in that.
Yeah. And I guess now, like, with this business being my job, it still doesn't feel like my job. I'm still like really creative all the time, but just in a different sense, problem solving, and it's a bit more a grown up way of being creative.
Yeah, of course. And it's a job.
Yes.
You know, and you've got to keep it moving forward.
Yeah.
How do you keep it moving? How do you keep it growing? Is it natural? Is it through, you know, parties are happening all the time with kids, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's really helpful that like there's birthday parties
all the time,
which is really good. So it's not just like Christmas or Easter that we're looking forward to. So that's really good. And we're quite lucky that we are very popular, and I don't really need to advertise too much. So that's lovely. I think my main problem is keeping up with bookings, actually, not being able to accommodate them. Which is a lovely place to be in. Yeah. But it's so then I kind of have to like look at my team and be like, okay, I need to now get more team members on board and train them up. And they've been a support entertainer for ages. Do you think they could have the opportunity to be a lead entertainer? And just trying to support them through that, and be able to sell the brand the way that I have grown it to be, and make sure they're representing the company as well as I need them to be. And thankfully, I have got an absolutely incredible team, and I can pretty much trust every single one of them, and they're just brilliant. And I do spot checks and things on them.
Well, that was my next question. I was going to say, how do you trust others with, because you let these people go out into the wild with your company, don't you?
Yeah.
You don't accompany them to every party.
No.
You can't. Obviously, you're going to spot check a little bit, and you're going to get reviews, but you can't handhold them.
No. That was really tough the first few times. But I think you just have to do that in order to grow. So it was in lockdown, because obviously my mum gave me the business, and then lockdown happened.
Right, okay.
So parties just stopped.
Instantly challenge hits you, yeah.
So then I was like, right, okay, what do I do here? And I just basically listened to so many like business podcasts. I went on websites. I joined seminars, like online seminars on just how to grow business. And it wasn't even like as a party point of view, it was just any business in general, making sure you're looking after your workers, giving them opportunities, talking to them, seeing what do they actually want out of life. Is this their job till the end, or is this just a stepping stone to get to their next thing? And so I try to do that a lot, and try and allow my team the space to tell me what they want out of this job, rather than me just being like, you work for me, you do it this way. I'm kind of like, I'll give them opportunities and say, okay, you want to try a bit more of this? Okay, let's try and train you and do a bit more of that. So yeah, that helps my team want to stick around and work for me, because I feel like I have built up a bit of a relationship with them, not just as a boss, like as a bit of a friend and maybe a bit of a mentor, which I hate. I don't want to say that I'm a mentor, but
no, with that, being in charge, I guess you need to find that space as a mentor, someone that can be looked up to, especially if they get, that. And I guess that's somewhere where we find the trust with each other, isn't it? Where they can, you not just trust in them, but them trusting you.
Yes. Yeah. Especially because I have a lot of young people come on board as well.
So when you had started this, having been involved with like the theatre group, are you people that are part of the theatre group? Are they working for you? Some of them, and some friends, other performer friends.
Yeah. I mean, now. They were all strangers. The team that I've got at the moment, because I think we've been going for quite a long time, I've got quite a lot of people now that just like reach out and they're just like, hi, do you have any vacancies? And I'm like, oh my God, you want to work for me? That's so cool. And I remember I reached out to someone who, it was my brother Danny went to college with them. We were looking for more boys. And I was like, Danny, do you know anyone? He was like, actually, message this person, they might be interested. And I messaged them, and they were like really chill, and I'm like, yeah, sure. And then when they actually came on board, they were like, Kelly, I just couldn't believe that Youth Creators Parties wanted me to work for them, and like, you are just incredible, this whole company is amazing. And I was just like, oh my God, thanks, I'm so glad that you, like, they just put us on a pedestal, or like my team, and I'm just like, oh, it's just me.
How does that actually feel though, to get that response from someone?
It's incredible. But then I kind of like, oh no, in the same breath. Like,
what does the oh no mean? What does that mean?
Oh, have I done a really good job? And have I got to keep this up? And I think as well, like if anything goes wrong, it's all down to me, and I've got to get myself out of it.
There's a responsibility.
Yeah, responsibility. That's the word. Yeah. Which is good. It's good. And I have to keep reminding myself that, Kelly, like, you're a fully grown adult now. Like, you're going to be 29 next month. Like, this is normal to have this sort of responsibility. Yeah. But I think just because like I've been doing the same thing for so long, I still feel like a child, just like figuring it out.
Why do you think you feel like a child figuring it out?
Because I suppose because I haven't had any change.
Okay.
Because I've kind of been doing the same thing alongside my mum since I was so small. I guess like age was never an option. It wasn't like, oh, when you're this age, you'll get to do this. When you're this age, you'll get to do this. Although I guess she passed it all over to me. Yeah, I don't know.
Does that come from like social pressures, maybe? Like outside influences making you feel that way?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I tell you what has changed actually from outside influences. I used to get like family and friends. I mean, people say it all the time that, well, when are you going to get a real job? And I've spoken to so many people who are in the arts that are like, yeah, okay, but when are you going to get a new job? My grandma always asks me, when am I going to And I don't get that anymore. And I think it's because my family and friends can see that I am able to support myself on this business, and I haven't given up, and I've, even through COVID and everything, just pushed and managed to buy a house with this job. And yeah.
I guess we're living in a new age where there isn't so much of a real job anymore. Yes. Is there? That normal 9 to 5 doesn't quite fit and work for a lot of people, does it?
No. Why is that? Do you think it's just COVID?
I think it started before COVID actually. I sort of felt it myself like early mid, sort of like 2010 I started to feel like that. The normal 9 to 5, fewer and fewer people are doing that. Fewer and fewer people are, working for the man, working for the company, because I feel like the promise that they once could offer is no longer available to us. The promise of stability.
Yeah.
There's used to be a nice thing. I used to work for a bank for a little while.
That is a normal job.
And I did that for 5 years, and I hated every minute. But I did that through social pressures. I did that because I had 2 young children.
Okay.
And I felt like that was the only way to be a good parent.
Yeah.
Was to get a put the acting aside, put the dreams aside, and get a proper job.
A normal job.
Normal job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I listened to those voices. And it didn't suit me at all. But whilst I was there, that promise from an employer like a bank, like I worked for Lloyd's Bank, and you would think they could give you a strong promise, a strong future, a career that goes in a certain direction. They couldn't, because I was there at the time that the financial crisis happened and the banks were collapsing. And so all the bonuses that I earned got ripped away from me, and all the overtime that I ended up working for free, and all this crazy stuff. And I think a lot of people at that time went, the system doesn't really work anymore, does it?
Yeah.
And actually, we can do something where we're being ourselves and still have great achievements.
Yeah. I think as well, like a lot of people like starting their own business and being entrepreneurs or whatever. I suppose they have that. They don't have to rely on anyone else but themselves. So yeah. Maybe that's an element of it as well. Of
it's in your hands.
Yeah.
What you do here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's brave. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
It is.
Because you're not guaranteed a certain wage every month, are you? It's down to... What is it down to?
An excellent product that people are seeing, I think. Yeah. I think people, like, other parents, when they go to parties... I think that's one good thing. Every time we do a party, there are around 30 other parents who will eventually be looking for a similar product.
Yes.
We're just advertising every time we do a party.
Every time you actually work.
Yeah.
So is the key to it then just keep working? Keep the parties happening. Keep going and
just make sure it's always a good product.
And the good product. Yeah. That they're happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never really... That's the first time I've actually thought of that before. Mm-hmm. That every single time we do a party, we've just literally got our target audience there waiting for us. I don't really need to look for it.
So is there anything that you're missing then with that? If that's the first time that you've considered that, are you doing everything with your target audience that you could be doing?
I think so. I think, well, like I said, in COVID, when I was like doing all of my research of how to be the best business, and branding was like a big thing that came up in me. Make sure that your logo and your branding is absolutely everywhere, so it becomes like a McDonald's M. As soon as you see that, you recognise it, you know what it is, and just making sure that you have like your branding and logo everywhere. Even if someone doesn't understand what it is yet, they'll recognise it, and if they see it again and again and again, they'll be like, oh, eventually they'll be like, what is that? Let's go and look at it.
These are the guys that do the parties.
Yes. Yeah. And it won't be until then that they go onto the website and they're like, oh my God, I've actually seen them so many times before. Yeah, I do remember, they are good. So in order to do that, I make sure we always have like banners up and stuff.
Yes, yeah.
And if we have like group photos or individual photos, I encourage the team to be like, just make sure you shuffle over so you have the branding in the background.
Because they're all going to share it on social media, aren't they? They're going to have the parties. They're going to want their kids.
Forever. That's what they're going to remember. Yeah. They're going to scroll through pictures like, oh yeah, Bobby's party was good. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, that was it. Oh, hang on a minute. That's their logo. Let's zoom in. And yeah, I mean, that's how I tell my team that parents work. Whether they actually do or not, I don't know.
Well, no, I've seen it.
It's a nice little logic, isn't it?
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen the parties come up, and you see the kids there with the superhero or the princess, and the banner in the background.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
It works.
Yes, it definitely works. And it definitely works with from what I'm seeing from my angle, you sharing stuff on social media yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, so as a parent who's got nieces, and I've got nieces and nephews that are young, I regularly see what you're doing, and if ever I was to go, I need a party, it wouldn't take me long to think about who to call.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. Social media's great, isn't it?
Yes and no.
I mean,
it's got good sides. I'm like trying to focus on the good, positive side of it.
I think from a business point of view, it's very, very good.
Yeah.
Personally, not at all. Like my personal Instagram, Facebook is like I don't really touch it.
Yeah.
But I have to have that because the business has to have it for it to go.
So what's a benefit of having social media? I think most people are getting to grips with that now.
Yeah.
But what do you find the best benefit of social media to be?
Oh, the fact that everyone has got it, like and it's in their pocket.
So
when someone's not doing anything, they're just going to scroll. They're just going to wait for something to pop up, and it might be your business that they come across, and let's have a look at that. But I do feel like I have to keep on top of it. It is like another job.
Yes.
To keep on top of, and especially with Instagram, everything has to be so aesthetically pleasing. So it's making sure that you're only posting. Well, for my business, I really like to post just the best cream of the crop of everything.
Right. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Where do you take that idea from?
I saw another business do it.
Okay.
My Instagram, I do like a like grids of 3. So I make sure that each 3 are like similar pictures, so it looks beautiful when people come onto it, and then eventually like they'll scroll a little bit and there'll be like a giant picture that takes up 12.
Nice. Yeah.
So it just stands out. So if people are going from like business, let's have a look at this business. Okay, yeah, they've got their princesses look nice. Yeah, let's go to this. Wow, look at their feed, and they'll just keep going and keep going. Oh my goodness, I didn't know they had that picture. Oh my god, they've got that picture too. Oh, that's cool. And I think it will just encourage people to stay on my page. I guess
it's a creative thing within itself, isn't it? Managing social media.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like an art form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I have had to work at because I'm not very good at being crafty, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, I've worked at that, and I don't post things quickly. It's not like every day I'm posting. It'll be just like, I haven't done that in a while. I should probably really think about it and do it. And it will take me like 3 hours to eventually post something.
This is really interesting as well, like the timings of. I read an article earlier today about because I'm trying to do a lot of stuff on social media, so I'm doing a lot of research myself, and the TikTok are losing a lot of contributors. People putting into TikTok. Instagram are losing a lot as well because people are feeling like you have to get it perfect or it's not going to get any traction.
I can really relate to that.
Yeah, so that they're starting to push now the videos that aren't over edited, that aren't over, that aren't perfect, that aren't shiny, so that people can start to feel like they can contribute to this platform and not be perfect.
Oh, that is really interesting because it's a bit like when you do a story. Is it a story? When they literally last for 24 hours.
Yeah, and then it's gone. Yeah. And it's like the effort that you go into for that story can take you a couple of hours sometimes, can't it?
See, I quite like stories because I feel like I can be braver on a story. I don't mind putting my face on there and be like, "Hi everyone, I'm doing this today. Follow me along." And then whatever, I'll try and vlog,
because then the cringe can disappear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I can nice on stories, you can see how many people have viewed it, who has reviewed it, and if so, I love looking at that to see like, did that work? Did people loads of people actually rewatch that? Maybe I should do that more often. And yeah, if I feel brave, sometimes I save my live stories that I've done, I will post them again as a reel, which lasts forever, and I can't rewatch them again after I've posted it.
There is something about that cringe that I just mentioned as well, isn't there? Something about that, you know, even us as performers, we're often seen as like extroverts, and we want to be seen, but actually we don't always want to be seen, and I'm trying to lean into that. I'm doing a different thing to you on social media. So you're trying to give a really nice looking business, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're trying to present it in a really nice, lovely way. I'm not trying to do that so much. I'm trying to find my authenticity.
Yeah, that's nice.
I'm trying to find a place where I can be truthful, and within that truthfulness, sometimes there's cringe and failures.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
also that's probably what keeps people watching, because they're like, I can relate to this.
Yeah, because we're all
human.
Yeah, we all cringe really, and we all do make mistakes, and none of us are good at talking to camera first. It's not a natural thing, is it?
No.
Talking to camera and saying your thoughts.
Yeah, it's weird.
You know, it is. it is a very odd thing to do, and maybe it takes a bit of training and practice.
Yeah.
And time.
Well, for me, I feel like I have a bit of an alter ego when I do it as well.
And
I feel like that's my only way to get around doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I have to psych myself up and I'm like, Kelly, you're not Kelly right now. You are Kelly, the business owner Kelly. And I'm like, yeah, here I am. Okay. And then I'm like, hi guys. And I have to be like, no, delete it, do it. And eventually I get it, but I'll have to rewatch it a couple of times before.
Yeah. Before
posting.
You can do it.
Yeah.
Someone said to me, do 100 takes and go with number 99. Like.
Oh, really? Because I think it's the opposite. You end up going with the first one.
Do you?
Did, yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah, I am trying to get better. I've had a couple of people close to me recently say to me, stop doing it. And I'm like, I don't think you understand where I'm trying to get to with it. Like, I know you know me, and you're cringing with me.
Yeah.
And that's painful, cringing with someone you know, someone you love.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah, someone that's close to you says this cringy.
Mm-hmm.
How would you say you could deal with that as well if people are close to you saying that?
Oh, my fiance has said it to me many a times.
Yeah.
Kelly, why are you doing this?
Yes.
Why are you actually doing this? I'm like, because I think by doing this, it will get me to this position, and people like this, and so I'm just trying this. And he's like, all right, okay, just as long as you know why you're doing it. And they will just leave it as that. So
how does that feel? Like, you're saying it with a smile. Like, so.
I mean, I think he's looking out for me, isn't he?
Yeah,
he doesn't want me to embarrass myself. I don't think he cares. He's not embarrassed by it. Like, oh God, my fiance's so embarrassing. Oh, doing this.
Yeah.
I think he's just like, are you all right? Are you okay doing this? Because no one's forcing you to do this. And if I give him a valid answer that I'm confident in, he's like, okay, yeah okay, cool, all right.
And in time, you will get better at it. Like,
yeah.
I'm not saying you're not, because I haven't really reviewed your stuff enough to notice how good or bad it is.
Yeah.
But if it's anything like that, the stuff that I'm doing, I think with every time that I'm doing something on social media, I'm seeing it. I'm getting 1% better.
Okay, that's
like
good.
I'm learning something every time, and even if it's not just within what I'm doing within myself, maybe it's the presentation of the video as well, like the editing of it, the subtitles. If I'm putting any music to the background, I'm trying to like process that 1% better each time. But I've got to keep putting it out there in order to improve.
Do you get much feedback
from audience perspective? Not really. A couple of no, that's a lie. Actually, I've had a couple of nice, positive comments on social media, and I was fully prepared for strangers to be negative with all of this at the beginning. I was fully like, if you put yourself out there, people are, the keyboard warriors, the trolls. Yep. They're gonna find you. Yep. Yeah, because that's what they do. Mm-hmm. But honestly, the people that don't know me have said some of the nicest things that have driven me forward. And then the people, like, I think you got like your inner circle, like your immediate friends and family. And I think some of them go to the place of, this is a bit cringy. Are you sure you're okay? Yeah. Are you sure you're not still living midlife crisis? What's going on here?
Oh God, another fad that you're going through.
Yeah, he's trying again, is he? All right. Yeah. Good luck with that one. But then, on saying that, some of them inner circles are tight as well. Some of them, every single post I put, love.
Oh, that's really nice.
And that's lovely.
Yeah.
And that's like every single time, like without fail, I know the people that are gonna hit the like button for me, and that means a lot. As well. So there's balance. There's the two sides to it, and then there's the ring that's just outside of that. The people that you have acquaintances, they're the ones that I'm getting the really powerful messages from. The ones that people that don't quite know me, and the ones that are saying, "Oh, I listened in and I got something from that. Oh. Keep going. Well done. Proud of you."
Oh, that's really lovely.
Yeah, that means so much.
Yeah,
people that you don't see within your immediate circle, for them to start commenting, or I got a random text message from a friend that I haven't seen in 3 years. 3 years pre-COVID, I haven't seen.
Oh, wow.
Get a message from her. Well done. Loving what you're doing. Oh. I listen in every now and then. Keep going.
That's so nice.
Like, just out of nowhere. Yeah.
Because sometimes it is that circle which, I mean, I don't know if you were the same. I worry about that circle.
Yes.
That in-betweeny of they're not a stranger, but also I haven't seen them in ages, and we kind of know of each other and we walk the same path, but not really together.
Yes,
And I feel like that can be the judgy
zone.
Yes,
very much.
Almost like when you're at school, a different friendship group, they sit over the other side of the canteen to you, and they're kind of like, they're just like, oh, what are you doing? Cool, all right then. And then they kind of like a silent watcher that doesn't say anything, that just judges.
Yes.
That's what I worry about in that.
Yeah. No, and
I do.
That's
so nice that you've had so much positive from
it.
I
do, and I'd say out of that circle as well, that I completely get that.
Yeah.
I completely feel that as well. I would say there is a group on that outer circle of some people that even I admire and look up to. Mm-hmm. Some people that I'm like, they've done some good things in their life.
I hope they like what I do.
I hope that, like from my perspective, where I'm sitting, you're doing well, and like, what are you gonna think? What are you gonna think of me? I think that's only natural to go to that.
Yeah.
And go to a place of worry.
But also trying to remember that they don't know your life story. They don't understand how important it is to you, and they probably have all the exact same worries and anxieties that we have.
Yeah. Or not even thinking about you at all.
Yes, all that.
Yeah, there is that everyone's so wrapped up within their life and themselves that it's very rare that they'll breach outside of that to think about you. And then if they're going to do that, and they're going to do that with any negativity, what does that even matter to me anyway?
Yeah, and also, why do they have the time to put negativity out in the world?
Yeah.
Like,
so why are we fearful of it then?
Yeah, it's so true. Like, I don't think I would ever, if I saw something that I was like, ugh, I wouldn't. I wouldn't go out of my way to be like, no, but by the way.
Yeah, but it might be, it's a momentary thought, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you get on with your day.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So why are we giving that so much value?
Yeah. Yeah, I actually, I'm talking about it loads. Connor, my fiance, he says to me, like, I'll say something like, oh, but what if these people, and he's like, what people? What people? You know, just other people. What if they think, yeah, but what other people? Oh, just anyone. He's like, specifically say. And I'm like, I can't specifically say who, because I just worry about anyone, like, within that circle.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just gotta know your worth and just be like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Who gives a shit what people think?
Yeah. I'm doing my thing. I'm happy with that. And I'm going to keep moving forward with it. Yeah. It's a great little discovery you can find in a conversation, isn't there? Just through chatting through this, and like, you know, these are all like even worries I've had recently, because I'm putting so much of myself out there, and so much of these conversations out there, that all this has crossed my mind, and then we're dealing with it here and now, and we're going to share this as well, and I'm sure there's other people out there that are thinking the same as us.
Because I suppose we are in each other's circle of that circle.
Yeah, 100%.
We are.
Yeah.
Because like we know of each other, but don't really.
Yeah, we're not even we're not even Facebook friends. I don't think like so, no. Because I try to look all my guests up and do a little bit, even if I know them, even if they are in my inner circle. I'll do a bit of research. I tried to do a bit of research on you. Yeah. And I was like, I can't find anything on Kelly. Oh no. I can't find stuff.
Secret. I told you, my personal stuff is like nil.
I found something. Are you getting married?
Yeah.
Is that happening?
Yes.
Yeah.
In June.
Nice.
So it's all just.
Where are we at with that at the moment? Is this like the crazy planning stage, or is it all planned?
Yes and no. We're going to Cyprus.
Okay.
Because we both literally do events for a living.
Yes.
So we're not planning anything.
Okay. I was thinking that maybe this is like the event. This is the big youth create event of the year.
Completely the opposite. We were like, no, not. So we said we're going to go to Cyprus. Whoever will invite everyone, and whoever wants to come and can come, brilliant. Because then we don't have to worry about upsetting people and only inviting certain people. Because we were like, not everyone's going to come to Cyprus. If we have 15 people that want to come with us, then, oh my God, amazing. We'll be so thankful and great. And we booked a hotel, 5-star, all inclusive. Let's do the lot. We don't have to worry about anything.
Just for the two of you?
Well, yeah, the two of us, but we also, the wedding's going to take part there as well.
Nice.
Take place there in the hotel. We've got these gorgeous gardens and it's just stunning. And then we invited everyone and said, look, if you want to stay in the hotel, these are the details, but you're more than welcome to stay outside the hotel and come on in. We've got 56 people coming to Cyprus for our wedding. And we are just so shook. We can't believe we've got that many friends and family that want to actually take time out of their work and school. It's during term time as well. And it's like we've got teachers which have actually managed to get time off work to come to our wedding and just feel so blessed. And it's just, it's incredible. And so, my brain is literally parties, wedding. That is it at the moment. So,
but do you think like it helps having this organisational background that you've got with the parties for a wedding?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yes. Yeah. Like we've decided that we're gonna spoiler to anyone watching who's coming to the wedding. We have booked a private cruise for all of our guests, like to say thank you for coming. We're doing that the day before the wedding.
Is this a secret? Are you revealing this now?
I mean, they'll find out eventually.
Okay.
But it's fine. And like, I'm chasing the cruise people. Like, hi, we've got this many ages, this age and this age. How are the steps? Because 85-year-old grandma can't do steps. Like, and I feel like if I wasn't in events, then I wouldn't know to think and ask those questions just because, So things like that, and just the hotel and just being like, hi, what are the music? How do we plug in our music? Is it auxiliary? Do you need a CD like in the old, like what? Yeah, just boring stuff like that.
But stuff you need to cover, absolutely.
You
need to think about.
Yeah. So yeah, in a way, but also we're really trying not to plan too much until I look at their decorations. I'm like, oh my God, they're all disgusting. Okay, we'll just pay €100 and we'll bring all our own and I can be creative and
do something.
Yeah.
Because weddings are expensive, aren't they? That's the...
Yes.
You know.
They are, but if you get married abroad, they are significantly cheaper.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, how come?
I don't know. I can't tell you.
In what sense? All the different elements are cheaper, so it ends up being a cheaper package?
Well, I think... Yeah, I mean, just hiring the space to get married in, I think that's like £2,000, and then like that's kind of it. That's all we really need to pay for. Yeah. Like, obviously, people are paying for their flights and accommodation, everything coming out, and we've got to pay for food. Food's probably the biggest expense.
Yeah.
But the
catering.
I don't know. I don't really know. It's boring chat talking about wedding stuff.
It's interesting. I don't know anyone that's got married abroad, so no, I do find it quite interesting how you're applying your skills, your organisation skills, and your creative skills. I mean, to this as well.
Again, trying not to. I'm trying to have a break from organising stuff, but.
And just like one last thing about the wedding, then. So, how does that feel, knowing that all these people are coming out there to support your big day?
Oh, it's just amazing. I think it's just like. Oh, these people actually love and care about us. And I think that they love us, not just individually, they love us as a couple.
Yes, yeah.
So that's really nice. And it just reassures everything. Like, we've been together for like 11 years. So
everyone's firmly established. It's about time. Yeah. Get it sorted, yeah.
So it's just a nice little confirmation that this is the right thing and everyone's here to support that. And
lovely.
If not, they wouldn't be booking a flight to come all the way.
Exactly, yeah.
So yeah, and I won't have anyone like on the day be like, I'm sick, can't come, sorry. So
because they'll be there.
Yeah, they'll have no choice. Even if they've got like sickness and diarrhea, they'll probably come down from the balcony and watch. So yeah,
wonderful.
That's nice.
That sounds nice. So what does the future hold? I know you're about to get married. But what does the future hold for you within your creative life? Is the business going to still continue? Is it going to grow? What's happening next?
Yeah, my manifestation is that I will be totally hands off, and it will just run independently without me. And I try every year to put an extra thing in place to get there. And like, and I don't feel like I'm getting any closer, but then I have to look back and be like, oh my God, this time last year I only had like 7 bookings in the month, but like this year I've got 7 bookings a weekend. Yeah. Of like a given.
I guess it comes to that thing when you're looking forward to the future. That thing I was saying about, for me, I try and do that 1% thing.
Yes.
Yeah. And when you're in it, that 1%, you don't even notice it happening. But 100 times into it, you're all of a sudden you're in the future.
Yeah.
So you mentioned manifestation there. Mm-hmm. So how does that work for you? Is that something you've always done?
Oh no, don't think about that too seriously. I've plucked that word out. I mean, I do have dreams.
It's kind of a dream rather than a...
I listen to a lot of podcasts about manifestation and things, and being like, what is it called, lucky girl syndrome, or I
haven't heard about this.
I think there's something called lucky girl. I don't know. There's lots of weird, wonderful things.
There's different philosophies of how we can make things work better for us. Yeah.
Also, angels. I've got a bit of a fascination about angels, and everyone's got their own guardian angel and things. But they're just things that I like tinkle with in the back of my head. I'm like,
interested
that would be lovely, that would be cool. Mm-hmm. And but I'm no expert. Not at all.
No.
But if I was to like get somewhere, like that would be it. And I would. So I do manifest in like. When people say, like, where do you see yourself in 10 years' time? I say that as like where do I actually see myself? And I do draw a bit of a picture in my mind and imagine myself there. So
you're there 10 years from now. What does this look like? So the business is just happening? What?
I've actually got a visualization.
Let's go.
So there's a building. There's windows. It's a glass building with windows. Youth Create at the top. The doors open. I didn't tell you this before. So Connor, my fiance, now actually runs Youth Create.
Okay.
So our household is just all Youth Create. So he does Youth Create and I do Youth Create does parties.
Nice.
So we go through to the side. There's a studio mirrored. He's got classes running. He's teaching a class and he's got some students there helping him as well. Go to the other side. There's an office with like a desk, and we have someone working for us behind the desk, and there's like filing cabinets, and there's a huge massive like calendar, yearly annual calendar. And I go in, they're like, oh, hi, Kelly, how are you? Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Are you having a good day? Yeah, good. Then you go on through. And then we have like another little office, which is like our training room, full-length mirror, and there's like costume rails. And that's where we have people like interviews and they have their auditions. And there's another little separate room back there, which has got some toilets and showers for the smelly people. But also attached to that is a laundry. So I don't have to wash all the costumes at home. Christmas time is the worst. I literally have red and white, black, like striped socks everywhere because we've got so many elves that go out. My whole living room is just red and white socks. It's crazy. So it'd be nice to have a little space. So yeah, we're going to have a building.
You're going to have a bit. And where's this building going to be? Is it going to be?
I don't know yet. But it's not like on grass. There's a pavement. Maybe near like a Tesco's or something, so there's free parking for everyone. It would also be lovely, actually. 5 years after having that building, we have an extension, so we can have our own party room and kitchen there. So people can actually have their parties there as well as the classes. Yeah, that'd be good.
I believe there's something in putting out your manifestation, talking about it as well.
I think so.
I think there's something in that because it almost gives it some weight and gravity.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got this thing in your mind, you've got this idea of where you want to go, but now the universe. Yeah. Yeah, I believe in the universe. Good, I believe that there is more going on than we realise, and I do believe that you have to ask for something.
Yeah, but also even if the universe didn't exist, you've heard me say that. And if you see a building up for grabs that describes that, you will contact me and be like,
oh, 100%.
Kelly, I found this.
I found the building.
And we can say, oh my God, the universe was listening.
But it helps connect the dots, didn't it? It helped connect the dots. If you keep it to yourself, you're not even beginning to draw a line between the dots, are you?
Yeah.
But as soon as you start to share, something starts to happen, doesn't it? It's like a domino effect and
eventually you'll get what you want.
Potentially, or definitely,
or if it doesn't come true, you were never supposed to have it.
No,
and something else will come along and you're like, oh, actually, this is what you're doing. Then you do it and you're like, oh my God, this is actually what I was supposed to be doing. This feels so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because maybe I've definitely had that where I pursued wanting to be an actor for a long time.
Okay, yeah.
I was very much like, here's the dream. This is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna be up there holding the Oscar one day. Very much could describe it like you are now, the future. But on that journey, discovering things that were completely different and surprising, I didn't always listen to those things that were different and surprising and those detours.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I did start to listen to the detours that I found out that actually that's not what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
That wasn't necessarily the path.
Yeah.
Just because I had an idea once that it would be. It was actually a detour was to go somewhere else. But then oddly, recently, the beginning of this year, like very beginning this year, I was like, no, acting is done. I'm done with that. I'm just not.
This year is in a month ago.
Yeah, as in like January, like beginning of January. I was just like, I've just not done it in a while. I'm just not feeling it anymore. I'm not going to pursue it in any shape or form. Within 24 hours, a friend, again, I haven't seen since 2016.
Oh, wow.
That I did a show with here on this stage that we're talking on now, messaged me and says, I've wrote a play. I'm putting it on next week. The lead actor's dropped out. Any chance you want to do it next week? And I'm like, what the hell? I've just said I'm not doing this anymore, and it's coming to me.
Well, that's definitely like the universe or the angels or whoever
something saying
no,
you're not.
No, don't.
Now's not the time to say no to that.
Oh, that's so cool.
And then and it wasn't, and it's not just been that either. Oh. And then this week, I thought, okay, I'll put myself back on Spotlight. I'll just have that there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pursue the agents because that's a job in itself, but I'll put it there occasionally. I'm self-employed at the moment. If I see things come up, I'll apply for it. I'll audition for a few things. 2 days ago, and I've never had this, someone messages me that's found me on Spotlight and says, do you want to come and audition?
That's so weird.
Yesterday I auditioned and I get the part on the same day. I got the part and it came to me. And that's at the point of me just going, I went to the audition for I was like, right.
The amount of people that are on Spotlight.
Exactly. To get picked.
How long would it have taken them to go through everyone?
And go, well, they do have categories, so they can go, right, I want a male, I want, dark hair,
the amount
height.
of people that would have been in that category still.
And for my category is huge as well. Like, there are far too many middle-aged white males. Far too many. Yeah. The amount of rooms I've been in, and it's been like, do you watch Friends? Friends? Yeah, everyone watches Friends, haven't they? You know that scene where Joey's in the room and he's like in the room with like 30 other Joeys?
Yeah.
That's me every time I go to a casting. Like, I go in the room, I go dressed like this. Yeah. Everyone's dressed like this. Yeah. And I'm like, it doesn't matter what I do. I'm in a room full of middle-aged white males. And so to get picked out, it's never happened. And then to get offered the part straight away.
That is mad.
It's a nice little independent film, short movie. Like, it's a 15-20 minute movie.
Great.
Nice little part to keep me going and get me back into it.
And the confidence to be like, oh yeah, I can do this. This is great.
Yeah. And there was also something in the audition as well that I went in feeling different. I went in not so desperate.
Oh my God. Yeah, I can. Yeah, because you were like, well, if I don't get it, I didn't want to do this anyway. Thing.
Yeah. And I went in and I was just me. And in fact, I talked about the podcast. And I read the script and did my thing and left. And it was all fine. And I didn't even think about it afterwards on the train home as well. Like, that was the other thing in the past when I go to these things. I'd hype myself up on the way there about the importance of it, and I'd read the script, I'd analyse it, I'd highlight words, underline it. Didn't do any of that. I didn't do, that's all important stuff to do.
Yeah.
Like, if you do any acting training, you should read the script. Mm-hmm. You should do all the work.
Yeah, know what you're going in for.
Know what you're going in for, but I literally didn't do any of that. I just rocked up and picked up the bit of paper and read it. And
that's a bit of magic, really, isn't it?
It does feel like that, and that's why I'm talking about it.
Yeah.
Because it does feel it feels like magic.
Yeah.
And it feels like a confirmation of doing the right things.
Ooh.
Yeah. So not ready to quite give up acting.
No.
It would seem.
It reminds me actually of, I went to an audition. It was at Pineapple, and I went. I can't even remember what the audition was for, but it was definitely for a dancer's role. Went for it, got cut, and I was like, whatever. I'll just walk around Covent Garden, treat myself to the hot chocolate or whatever. And as I was going back down the stairs, there was another room, and it had a whiteboard up and it tells you what's coming on the rest of the day. And on there, it had another audition for, what did it say, Panda or I don't know. It was something weird. And anyway, I looked it up and I was like, that's in an hour. I'm going to do that. Maybe I'll do that. Okay. So I knocked up and I was like, hiya, I just saw your audition. Could you just tell me what it's about? And they described it. It was at Chessington World of Adventures. They were looking for show performers and puppeteers, and people in like suit costumes, not mascots. And I was like, no. All right, okay, yeah, sure. All right, I'll see you later. And I was kind of like, I'm a dancer. I'll come. And I went and I turned up to the audition, and I was so chill about it. And I was not dressed. Everyone was in like actor, baggy, like ready to move and movement and whatever. And I'd just come from a dance, like in leotard and tights and things. And I was like, oh my God, I feel so embarrassed right now. Just walking into a totally different room. And they told us about this brand new show called Pandemonium, and we're going to have like real pandas, and it's a children's show, and they made us be pandas, and I had to go on our hands and knees. We were rolling over each other, and they gave us a script. We had to read for the script. And that evening, I got a call from them saying we want you, and I was like, this is so weird, because I didn't even go to London for that audition, and they just gave it to me, and it was so odd. What do we take from that? I just look for signs. If something's telling you like, go and look at that, just do it. Yeah. Nothing might not come of it. No, but something beautiful might come of it. At the same time, something special might come of it. Yeah. Or you could just have an experience. Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. I did this job, and I loved my team that I was working with. I really enjoyed the script, actually. There was like a mixture of baby panda puppets, which was so, so cute. But we also doubled up, and we were in these proper massive suits. Do you remember the Foxy Bingo advert? Yes. The giant fox. Yes, I do. So yeah, it used to be on Jeremy Kyle, didn't it? Was it maybe like pre-Jeremy Kyle? Yes. Yeah. So the same company that made that fox, they built these pandas, and these suits were absolutely huge. I learned so much on this job. That's weird, because I know the guy that was the Foxy Bingo. Oh, really? The guy that was the fox. That's so cool. That's so cool. Yeah. But anyway, the management, I did not get on with at all. They did not look after us. The conditions were awful, and I spoke to them a couple of times. I was like, could we please get this changed, because it's just a bit dangerous for us when we're rushing off and there's spillage and the rain and blah, blah, blah. And they were like, oh yeah, and nothing ever got sorted. And the pay, I had to argue with them a little bit about pay because it was late and things like that. And I didn't actually make it to the end of the contract because I had to leave. And I walked away from that job, and I just said, if I'm ever in a position that I am a manager or a team leader or anything, I'm not acting that way. So as much as I had a great experience on stage with that, I felt like that job was given to me to learn more about being a manager and a team leader and looking after team. And yeah, that's what I took away from that job. Do you think you could do what you're doing now if you hadn't have had that experience? No. I feel like I don't know, people have said to me before, when they've auditioned, they're like, do you know what, you actually seem like I could come to you with my problems, and I'm just like, someone told you to say this to me, because I'm so glad, because this is what I want from my team, to be able to come and talk to me, and if they've got problems or anxieties or mental health issues, or even if they've just something silly that they think is not a big deal, just tell me. Just tell me, and I'll see what I can do to make it better. Everything that was wrong about that experience that you had when you were a performer.
you've managed to turn that round so that you're the exact opposite.
Yeah. Well, I try to. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I always think back to, like all the jobs I've done and just, what have I learned from this? Okay, I've learned to not talk to someone like that. Cool. Oh, I'll remember that. Yeah. So,
and we was talking about you earlier on before we started the podcast. You auditioned someone today.
Yeah.
What was
yesterday?
What's that like when someone comes to you now, having been a performer?
Yeah.
That you've put yourself out there at auditions.
Yeah.
But now you're in a place where people come and sit down in front of you and say, "Can I be part of your thing?"
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
It is really cool, but then I get nervous.
Okay.
So it's yeah. So I had this guy, he reached out and he said, "Oh, I've attached my CV." It sent me to Spotlight and I was like, "Oh my God, he's an actual actor." Oh God, I hope he knows this is just like a little weekend job sort of thing. And I need to stop saying that it's a little weekend job because it's not. No. Some people work for me and it is their full-time job. So I need to take that out of my brain. So yeah, I interviewed him but on his Spotlight, it had his agent's contact details, all of his show reels and everything. Did the interview. Of course, he was great because he's an actor, and he'd done some children's party things before. And then afterwards, like I said to him, I'm thank you so much for coming. And I was quite honest with him after, and I did say to him, like, I was a bit nervous because I could tell from your CV that you had a lot of experience. And he was like, I had so much fun. It was all on video call. And he's like, I loved it. I loved that you had it propped up and I could see all of your wigs and costumes in the background. And oh my goodness, when you asked me to do that challenge, you really threw me off. I didn't know how to do it. And I'm like, I'm glad I did all right for you. And I was like, yeah, thanks. And it was quite nice that we had like a little humbling moment of just being a bit human and not.
Yeah, that's it. Because we can both be on that side of being nervous, can't we?
Yeah.
Like in both positions. And I think we forget that especially when we're a performer and we're going there and we're feeling the nerves and we're feeling about ourselves and we go into that space and we forget what it's like. We don't have any idea actually what it's like for the others.
No.
But you're saying that nerves exist for you as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And they exist for me as well. Someone told me yesterday that I'm extremely confident. And I was like, in fact, it was my sister. She was like, "You're so confident. Why are you talking about these nerves?" And I'm like, "I'm not. Like I try my best."
But that's because we can put a face on.
Yeah, because we work on it.
Yes.
Yeah. And we try and like find techniques.
Yeah,
like
just practicing.
Practicing, yeah. I find when I get a bit nervous, I find there's so much to offer within the breath.
Okay.
Just having a moment to breathe.
Yeah.
I did a radio interview the other day.
Yes.
To promote the podcast and talk about what I'm doing. And
did they ask you on?
Yes. Yeah. Well, it was a guest that I had on the show. On the show. I'll be calling this a show. A guest on the show.
Love that.
A guest that I've had on the podcast. And we had a wonderful chat and conversation, and I did what we're doing here, me being the host and finding out about her. And afterwards she was like, "Yeah, I host a radio show in Chelmsford, local radio for Chelmsford. Be great to have you on there. Have an hour, talk about your podcast and give it a bit of promotion. Yeah, let's do that." So I was like, it's not really my thing, but I'm going to say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the tables turned and you realised what it's like to be in the interview chair.
Yeah, and then like I parked up outside and I'm sitting outside the radio station. I was like, I was bricking it actually. Because I was like, what have I got to say? Yeah. And then I went to this place of like, actually, like I'm doing something that I love right now and I know what I'm doing. I don't have to overthink about notes. I wrote notes.
Yeah.
I had my notebook and I wrote things down. And I was going to take it in with me, but I left it in the car. I was like, I know all this. Like the notes came from me. And when I'm in that environment, they'll come again if the time is right. And I guess that's what's similar happening with you here today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did say to you, didn't I? I was
you said the same thing.
Do I need to bring anything?
Do I need notes or anything? And it was like, no, we'll see where this goes. And
I am still very nervous sitting here right now.
Discover. Yeah, it can be to. It's a different situation, isn't it, to talk about yourself and.
I think that's it as well. Like I said before, like when I do my live videos, I'm not Kelly. I'm Kelly, the business owner, sort of thing. You put on that persona.
I feel like I'm seeing Kelly today.
Yeah, I feel like Kelly, the real Kelly, is here, and it's
nice.
It's yeah.
It's hard.
I feel very like, exposed. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But hopefully we can find some like truth in that, and we can become stronger.
Yeah.
Within that, when we find out that it's actually okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually not a bad place to be, is it? Like just to be ourselves for a moment and just. Oh, that was my tummy. I think it's dinner time. Did you hear that? That was loud. That I've got to remember to eat before I do these podcasts.
Do you not? Wait,
I didn't know.
Is it normally 7 that you have people?
Different times. When do you I'm quite flexible at the moment, so I'm not going to start working fully until next month. Okay. I do, as you know, I do the kids' theatre shows. Because I had Danny last year, Danny and Luna.
What do you do? Like, what is your
normal job?
Yeah,
I had a little bit of a moment of being a little bit lost.
Okay.
And not. This was like last year. I'm taking you back now, and I'm telling you about me. This is supposed to be about you.
No, it's your turn.
But I had this little moment of being a little bit unsure of what I'm doing. Like I said, I like feeling like acting's not been working. Doing it for like 20 years, hitting my head against the brick wall. Normal jobs not working out either. Mm-hmm. Side hustles not working out. Just like literally everything I do in was not working at all. So, and then I just had this. That kind of took me to like almost like a breakdown. Oh. Maybe even, let's be honest, a breakdown. Yeah, had a breakdown moment. And there were other elements to that as well, to that family stuff not going well. And yeah, so I was completely and utterly lost. And then I paused for a moment, not on purpose. I didn't choose to do it, but I just stopped thinking about it all. And then somewhere in that, I started doing this. I said to a friend, I got this idea, Jim, mutual friend. I said, I got this idea about doing a podcast around creativity, around the stuff that I know and love, and we'll have a few friends sit down on these chairs on the stage and have some conversations. And maybe we'll do like 10 episodes or something. Just try it out. And that started in August, September. And now I'm nearly at 100. This is like in the episode in the 90s. And the journey this has taken me on, and the path that this has opened up, and all the different directions that I'm going on, and then the acting starting again. Yeah. And then the pantomimes are going to be starting again next month. That's one of the things that has worked well for me, having the children's theatre shows.
Yes.
So that's something that I can always come back to and ground myself in.
Yeah.
It's something that I know I can do
and
well.
It's worked
in the past.
I can bring that back.
Yeah, and I'm very lucky to have a space that I can bring that to.
Yeah.
I have access to a theatre. I know some other theatres that I'd like to reach out to and take them to. So I've got hopes and dreams for expanding that as well. So I'm always going to. That's something that I'm always going to, I think, do.
Yeah.
So now we're just paths are opening up and new directions are happening, and I don't feel lost anymore.
That's so nice.
Which is nice. It feels a new.
Yeah.
Feels like a new little moment.
So this, like, doing podcasts only started as like a little idea. Like, have you got where can you see this going if it could go to infinity and beyond? Like, where?
This is late night talk show. This is the beginning of Jimmy Kimmel. This is, David Letterman. This is, Graham Norton. We in this country we have Graham Norton. Mm-hmm. We have Jonathan Ross. Occasionally, every now and then, Chris Evans pops up, but that's kind of like it.
Yeah.
And we have like these talk shows and things, and we have these. This is the first time I'm telling anyone this. Like literally no one knows this at the moment. Oh so like God. You did, you
broke you over.
Like you shared your manifestation. I am now. But we don't have these like late night talk shows over here. And I feel like there's a space in media, whether that's social media, TV, for late night entertainment to come back. And I'd love to. I feel like I can offer a platform, and I could feel like I can offer a space for creatives to talk about what they do and showcase their talents. And the dream, is to expand that showcase of people's talents. And
you should take it to Edinburgh.
Edinburgh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fringe Festival.
Yeah.
Have you been?
I've never been. I'd love to go. But what could I do there in this format at Edinburgh?
Well, you just
interview
people.
and explore all the shows that are going on there.
Yeah. Other shows which are happening, so it will have opportunity for people to come on and they can like talk about themselves and their show. So the audience buy tickets for their show as well because they're great.
And people are interested in listening to these conversations.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, as you were saying this, I was thinking people love to be nosy.
Yes.
People love knowing the behind the scenes of how did they get there and why did they do this and what brought them here
and what are their weaknesses and what are their strengths and where is the inspiration and people love podcasts this is the other thing that's happening with this, that there are people listening to this on Spotify.
Do you get loads of what are the views like?
So in between,
this is going to make me feel nervous now.
Well, so different episodes, different things are happening with different episodes.
Oh yeah, of course.
But overall, in between October and December, had 10,000 listens on Spotify.
Wow! Oh my god, that's so good.
And I was like, okay. And then this month, I've had about 5,000 listens. So it's almost like doubling already.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying not to get too wrapped up in that. I'm trying not to think about that too much.
Yeah.
Trying to keep just doing what I'm doing, enjoying it, meeting new people, exploring the journey.
Because I get that as well. The more people that listen to it, the more people that you're probably going to have come forwards and be like, I'll come on your podcast. And then they'll share, oh, I was on this podcast, everyone. And you'll have more listeners.
Yeah, and that's happened twice already. That's happened to 2 people have done that already, that have come to me through being a listener that I have no connection to. Someone travelled from the other side of the country to be here, to be on this, through discovering it. And
you're just a young man, Harlow, just doing his thing.
Not so young anymore. I don't feel so young anymore. I guess that was the thing as well. Do you know what? I lie. I do feel a bit younger again. I was feeling old. And I think that was part of the problem. I was feeling like the opportunity for hopes and dreams were over by reaching 40. And I guess that's what a midlife crisis is.
Yeah.
Is like,
was it turning 40?
Well, I turned 40 this year.
Oh, okay.
So I guess it's like reaching that thing.
Because then you always look back and you're like, oh, what haven't I achieved in my life?
Yeah, and you look at others.
Yeah.
Going back to those circles.
Yeah.
You look to people within your circle, in the next circle, and you go, shit, they're doing.
You compare. Comparing is the worst thing in the world. Yeah, it's horrible, isn't it? Always comparing lives, and
we don't need to do it because we are all on different
journeys, different paths, and
we're all doing different things, and we've all had different struggles, haven't we? And so it's not a good idea to compare because the comparison isn't real.
No.
Is it? It doesn't mathematically. It doesn't all add up.
No. Oh. Take it to Edinburgh.
Take it to Edinburgh. What an idea! And see, by me, this is going back to the dots. By me sharing where I would like to go with this, you then offered me a dot. You then offered me and said, "Well, have you thought about this? This way to get to that bit."
And I only know about Edinburgh because I've got a friend that has done loads of shows at Edinburgh who I've gone along with, and so they've given me this idea to bring it to you.
And have you seen anything like this format being done there?
Yes, but it always leans into comedy.
Okay.
I think the difference between your podcast is it's not, I'm going to make you laugh, and that is my USP.
Yeah, or there's so many podcasts I find that are attention seeking, so they'll play like games and they'll it'll all be, let's talk about sex or drugs.
Ask the audience. We've had some questions come through. I'm going to ask you these questions.
Yeah. And I am an entertainer as well and a performer, so there is a bit of that inside of me that's maybe itching to come out.
But maybe you don't need to play into the whole, ta-da, let's do this now. I've planned all this, because you're entertaining enough just as you.
Yes, yeah.
And that must be so...
And even more so the guest.
Yeah.
Even more so you sharing your story, sharing where you are in your life. That's entertaining. We are finding it entertaining as podcast listeners, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah, because this isn't, like, funny.
No. No, maybe there are moments. Maybe you surprise yourself. In fact, actually, I have surprised myself. Sometimes you go back and you watch moments and you go like, actually, there's some drama there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some moments that jump into mind now that I won't bring up, but there's some moments that I go, God, I didn't realise I reacted like that. and you can see some bits that are funny, and maybe even the cringe can be quite funny.
Yes. Yeah. At
times.
If you own it. Yeah, you've got to own your cringe.
Yes.
And then I think you stop cringing at it. If like you're oh my God, that's so cringy, but I did that. Okay, I'm going to do it again. Well, I'm not going to cringe about it now because I've already done it before. So it's not cringe anymore. Maybe that's another confidence thing, getting over the cringe.
Or leaning into it.
Yeah.
Embracing it. Like,
Be the cringe.
Maybe that's going to be this. I always try and think of like a meaningful title to the episodes. I think that's going to be Be the cringe. Sorry. No, I won't do that.
I just feel like there should be a light upside of my head now.
Be the cringe.
Cringe monster.
Yeah. But it's important to lean into it. It's important to embrace it and to discover who you are within that.
Yeah.
And learn from it.
And just have ideas spinning around. I think that comes from cringe, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like even like silly words. Like, oh my God, that was so cringeworthy. But it was funny. We're going to do that again. That's
it, exactly. And yeah. And we're discovering really, really, really important things from that.
Yeah.
This has been really nice, Kelly. I really, really, really do appreciate you joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Have you got, to wrap this up, have you got any words of inspiration for anyone else out there that's been like you, that's been a performer, but wants to embrace a business?
Oh, no, I don't feel like I'm an expert to say anything like that. But I guess believe that you can do it, and also don't rush into it. Don't feel like you're going to be the best straight away. You're going to stumble and make mistakes, but make sure you learn from every mistake and correct every mistake so you don't do it again. And say yes to opportunities. Yeah, I think that's it.
That's wonderful. Thank you. And I'm learning so much from this. I'm taking so much from it.
I bet you are.
Like that's what I need to hear as well. It's amazing when you sit there for a moment and go, maybe I'm not qualified. But actually, what you said there was so important to me.
Oh,
that was really nice. So, and I think that's a perfect moment to wrap this up and say thank you, Kelly. And if there is anyone watching or listening, thank you for joining in on the conversation. And if you're listening and you want a job, I'm always hiring. So reach out to Kelly. Yeah. Where do they find you? On Instagram, Youth Creators Parties, or Facebook, Youth Creators Parties, or Google Youth Creators Parties, or you can WhatsApp me. Yeah. Nice and easy to find. Youth Create does parties. Wonderful. Yeah. And it's the same with this podcast. If you want to find out more about the podcast, what do you search? BTS Creative Academy. Just keep it nice and simple. You forgot where you was for a minute, didn't you? Like, where am I? Hello. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Kelly. Cool. Thank you. That was the BTS Creative Academy Podcast, Uncut. I appreciate you joining us for this conversation. And so that you don't miss out on any future conversations, don't forget to like and subscribe.